everyone, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. So this is Nicola Yoon's second book. She came out with Everything Everything last year, and that took the booktube world by storm, but I think that this book is going to do even better. So this book follows Natasha and Daniel. Natasha is a very analytical, logical-minded person, and she is a Jamaican American who is in threat of being deported. But she meets Daniel, who is a Korean American, and he is very kind of light and fluffy. I guess his head is kind of in the clouds, so it's really a meeting of two different worlds, and they spend this one day together, and it's all about their experience during this one day as they fall in love, and all the forces of the world seem to be against them, and they're trying to overcome that. Nicola Yoon is a really great writer. She has a way of being a good balance of artsy and just normal, concise writing. So it's metaphorical and considering these really big ideas, but it's doing so in a way that is easy for everyone to understand. So you don't feel like you need an English degree to decipher it. And I don't just say that because I am an English major. I think that it is a really easy book to read, but at the same time, it tackles some really important topics in a really tasteful and kind of contemplative way, I guess. It's very thoughtful, that's what I'm trying to say. There's two kind of storylines going on. You have a romance storyline, and then you have one that deals with really, really big issues that are kind of at the forefront of society today. And those two storylines intertwine to make a story that is both enjoyable and fun, but sad and contemplative at the same time. And this book is written in dual perspective, which sometimes can be a failure. I find that some authors don't know how to do it very well, but this one, it's very well done. You could tell the difference between the two characters. You didn't have to keep on flipping back and seeing whose chapter you were reading. You knew who you were reading about just by their distinctive voices, and that is really what makes for a successful dual perspective narrative, especially because the dual perspective, it was necessary. You got to see both sides of the story, and seeing both sides of the story in a story like this one combined and made it this whole narrative that really worked. The characters are really where this book shone. Ha ha ha. Funny because it's the sun, but I think that the characters brought the story to life. So Natasha is a character that, like I said, she's very analytical, very logical minded, and sees things for fact. She lives for facts, not kind of the flighty things. She wants an answer, and she couldn't really afford to be someone who is a dreamer. She has to kind of accept her lot in life and deal with it because her family is about to be deported, and you see her in the face of that and how terrible it is for her, and it's kind of tearing her whole entire life apart. She is from Jamaica, but she doesn't know Jamaica. She knows America more than she knows Jamaica. So she calls America her home, but she's being lifted out of her home, and you see her, this logical minded person, trying to prevent that from happening, and she's kind of powerless. So it's her against this big force that she can't control, and it's really kind of heartbreaking to see that. Now, while Natasha is a little bit of a pessimist, she's really a realist, ultimately. She sees things as they are. Like I said, she can't afford to be a dreamer, and I think that that aspect of her character was very interesting considering her pairing with Daniel. Daniel is a dreamer. He lives really on the planet of dreams, and he kind of ignores reality, and not ignores it because he does acknowledge that it's there, but he prefers to see the positive side of things. He prefers to believe that there is this greater purpose and that things will ultimately work themselves out for the best. And I think seeing that paired with someone like Natasha, who is basically has this whole view where everything is kind of crap, because I mean it is for her right now, I think seeing her situation and trying to understand it was interesting, and their relationship became defined by they were part of two separate worlds, but they had these very similar struggles, and the similarities are what brought them together. Now, like I said, the plot focuses on some really important issues, such as immigration. Immigration has been at the forefront recently, especially with the election over in the States, and I think that it's an important topic to be discussed. I mean, you see in Natasha a character who she calls America her home, but I mean, America's not really accepting her as her home, and I think it was just really sad to see her being uprooted from this life that she has come to know, and it was just so heartbreaking to see that, and she doesn't feel like she really fits in anywhere because, I mean, America is telling her she has to leave, and I think she really doesn't accept that. She's lived in America, she knows America, and it is where she feels she belongs, and seeing her kind of uprooted from that life was just very, very sad. But then at the same time, you have the race relation, so you have a Jamaican American girl and a Korean American boy, and seeing the two of them and discussing like the different racism that they have experienced and how it kind of works for them. I think that was so interesting, especially because Nicola Yoon is writing from experience, and I loved that. I mean, her husband, I believe he's, I think he was Korean, yeah. So she is a Jamaican, Nicola Yoon is a Jamaican American, and her husband is a Korean American. So she's really writing from experience, and I think that seeing such a diverse couple, especially in young adult literature, was awesome, and I loved it. This story also really contemplates fate, and if there is such a thing as fate, I mean, is there such a thing as love at first sight? Can you really fall in love with someone in 12 hours? And will it work out? I mean, when all these forces are working against them to try and tear them apart, can they still stay together? And I think how it dealt with fate was awesome, and it was one of my favorite parts of the story. I think it really added this kind of, not even romantic level to it, but this really existential question, and kind of had you thinking the whole entire time. This book really ultimately made me think, and that is so important and so awesome to see in young adult literature, especially because it's thinking about really important issues. And the relationship between the two characters, apart from the idea of race and all of that, it was a really interesting relationship to see, because like I said, there are two separate worlds, but their interaction, they kind of become one, and it was just very refreshing, I think, to see a relationship that worked so well and didn't really feel artificial or forced. Because it really is insta-love, but it's insta-love that makes sense. It's insta-love that is done right. So when insta-love is done correctly, it works, and in this novel, it is really done correctly. So overall, I ended up giving this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was awesome, and I loved the topics it dealt with, and I loved the whole storyline, the characters. Everything was awesome, and I think that this book is going to be a smash hit when it comes out on November 1st. So definitely go and get your copy November 1st when it comes out, because you are going to want to join the conversation this book will start. So that is all for today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have read this book, let me know your thoughts on it, or if you're looking forward to it, then let me know why you are. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!